This is the Dover Download Podcast. My name is Christopher Parker, and for the past 25 years, I've had the pleasure of working with, learning from, and talking to a variety of volunteer, staff, and community members. This podcast explores conversations, activities, and a variety of policies and programs which exist here in Dover to improve the community in one way or another. So 2025 is the year of the library, at least here in Dover, as we work on renovating our 100-plus-year-old library to make it as usable and functional for the future as it has been in the past. I'm joined today by Eric Sanderson, our project manager, and Denise LaFrance, our library director, to talk about our project renovating the library, which is about 6 months into its process. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, Eric, my guess is that we're probably done with demo at this point and that we are focused more on getting the rehab upgrades, that sort of work going underway. Is that accurate?
We're about 90% done with demo, but we have started in probably the last 2 to 3 weeks putting items back in. So we're kind of done with the big deconstruction portion of the project. They've done a lot of, in the last week, steel work in the basement. One of the big items that was done was they removed the fire stairway from the ground floor and kind of shifted it as you're kind of coming down onto the first floor and then going down to the ground floor. So that allowed for access from the children's room to the book maze. So there was a lot of shoring and supports that needed to go in to get through the demo, and now they've put the final beams in, and we're starting to make forward motion.
So Denise, Eric just alluded to the fact that this isn't just a pull everything out, rewire, update, clean up, spruce things up. This is a true renovation down to the bones and up. So can you walk the listener through what the end goal is, what some of the changes they can anticipate are, just as a refresher from the last time you were here?
Sure. So I think overall what we were hoping for was a safer building and for it to be more ADA accessible. But the biggest changes that the public are going to see is in the children's room. And Eric was just talking about the fact that, we're removing walls and we are pushing into the basement of the historic part of the building. So I think that's where people are going to really see some great changes, because it's going to be a lot of the space in the 1988 edition, but you're also going to then be able to flow right into, the 1905 part of the building. So it's going to have a really cool feel to it. And it's really giving them a lot more space. So we'll be able to have some little areas for toys and different, age range with the toys. And that's what people really want, is community space. So that's the thing I'm probably most excited about. Upstairs, we're going to be our main circulation desk will be where the reference desk was in the old space. And so I think upstairs won't feel quite as different, but there's going to be more meeting rooms, which I know people really want. Huh. And then on the third floor, there's going to be a couple extra meeting rooms up there. And one of the really neat things, I think, in the lecture hall is that they removed the drop ceiling. And so we're going to get to see sort of the historic medallion vent up there.
And then probably the other big change, which the exterior is there, is the new entrance, which is coming right off the Partons.
Yes. That's going to have an elevator, a new stairwell that's, 3 stories tall, and then 2 bathrooms on each floor, which is very exciting to us. Bathrooms are very exciting. So, yes. So it's going to be a really central area and make it easy for you to get to any floor in the building. So, yes.
I think the monolithic mural with your face on it at the entrance is another big... No? We didn't value engineered that one out?
I wasn't aware of that one. I think it would be great.
Eric, I can't believe you did that. So you have moved out of the library in December of 2024, give or take.
Right.
And it's operating out of the McConnell Center, which I've visited a few times, and I think it's working. I don't think anyone ever thought it was ideal, but it's working.
Right.
Are you still on track, you think, to open the building back up in January of 2026, or are we still too early to know that, Eric?
It's kind of early, but I think the way the construction is phased at this point, we got a little delayed going through council and everything in January, so it kind of pushed them back a little bit. Originally, I think their plan was to be done construction in December or end of December so that we could plan our move back into the building for January. So that kind of all got pushed back a month. So they're kind of looking towards January, February for completion. It's a little early in the construction world. We have a lot of lead time issues. So we haven't completed all the purchases yet for some of those lead time issues. So we're kind of working through that right now. But the preliminary timing is February.
So for the listener, one of the things we've talked about on this podcast with other projects, and certainly the council has been made aware of, is that electrical things, in particular generators, transformers, switchgear, all of that, we're seeing lead times of 18 months, if not longer, depending on the size and the scale of it. And I've got to think the library, it's not a putt-putt generator that you buy at your local home goods store and plug in. I know one of the things that the three of us had chatted about was, depending on the direction we went, we might have to shut down the McConnell Center parking lot for a portion this summer to do some trenching work and some electrical work. That's all been resolved, right? You came up with an alternative that allowed us to do a different route.
The contractor was really concerned about timing and availability to do concrete when we were kind of able to close the lot. So without increasing the costs immensely. So we actually were able to find a location on the side of the street that the library is on, kind of in the front corner, to have the transformer mounted and locate the generator close to that. So we're able to shorten the run, as well as maybe eliminate a few items that we had to put in with the other run. So it's worked out really well. It was a little difficult. We had to do a little more planning or redesign on that, which is another slight delay, but it wasn't anything crazy. So
with a project of this size and the age of the original structure, there have to be what we would call contingency issues, the issues that we might have had an inkling about, but until you pull back some of the veneer, you don't know what's hidden. Denise, you talked about pulling down the drop ceiling. There are other instances where things were removed and revealed. One of them is the windows and the condition of some of the windows. Can you walk us through what's we've discovered there?
Over the years, I think the last renovation in the 80s, they did replacement windows, which is basically taking the window sashes out but leaving the original frames. And so most of the wooden window frames in the historic side of the building are all original. So with being 120 years old, along with lack of maintenance, painting over the years, they've just deteriorated. And there are some that are in horrible condition, and there's some that are okay. So kind of your upper level ones aren't that bad just because they don't get the splash from the ground when water hits. They have enough of an overhang from the roof that you're not getting the wind-blown rain, or the only rain they're really getting is the wind-blown rain.
Right.
So they've run into that issue. So we're trying to come up with a solution. We've bounced around a couple ideas. We're still waiting on quotes to do a complete window replacement. That's one option, and then we're trying to work through ways to restore them if we have to. They're really not historic windows because they're not the originals, but we're trying to keep the same that's there.
So, Denise, every challenge is also an opportunity. And while being here in the McConnell Center isn't the greatest setup, and it's certainly a temporary setup, there are opportunities. And I'm wondering, have you seen people that maybe hadn't come to the library in a while, or have you seen through changes in operations some things that when you go back across the parking lot, you might continue to do things a little differently? Or is there any of those, or is it still too early to tell?
No. So I think something that we've learned is that there's a lot of organizations in the community that we can partner with. So, our children's room, for example, is going, out to more daycares and more nonprofits and doing story times where they are, which has been really great. We've worked with the schools, which we've always worked with the schools quite a bit, but this summer we're partnering with them to use their space for things, to use their books. So when ours, because part of ours are not, available, so the partnership with them has really been great. And also just using space, like at Silver Squares, is letting us use a space to host one of our book groups. And that was really eye-opening because some of their residents are now coming to that book group. So, maybe that's something we should be doing in more places and going out into the community more. And sort of in preparation for our move, one of the things we started was the homebound service and delivering books to people. And that has really now, every Wednesday, we are going to some is resident homes and some are, individuals' houses that are unable to come to us. So, yeah, so I think it's been the community connection of us going out, which has really been great. I think that is something we will absolutely keep doing once we're back in our space.
Nice. It's always good to find the silver lining.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up, we're still looking at another 6 months or so. Sounds like overall positive progress, that it is what it is when you're renovating a 120-year-old building. Yes. We've got some bumps, we've got some bruises, but we've also got some positive things that are moving forward. And the end result will remain that it's a much better experience for the user and the staff.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're very excited about the changes and we're very excited to get back into the building and see what it looks like and have more space and opportunities to do different things. So, but don't forget, we're still in operation in McConnell Center. We're entering our busiest period right now with summer reading program. We have them for all ages, so come visit us.
So let's end on that. Walk us through the summer reading programs and how they do work. And is it any different than what we might have been used to in the past?
Not really. We're still doing them for all ages. The difference is this year we're doing a lot more. Again, going out to places, they're going out to different parks, they're going out to different schools and doing things off-site. So that's exciting. So, and like I said, so we have 3 different programs. So we have the children's program, and then we have a teen program, and we do have an adult program.
Appreciate you both coming in, and maybe we'll check in towards the end of the year when we're hopefully given an update about welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Dover has a wealth of history in its over 400 years of existence. Coming up, Mike Gillis is going to share some of that history with us.
This week, in 1979, Dover Mayor Jack Buckley made an announcement that would reshape both his career and the future of affordable housing in the city. Standing before reporters at a press conference at the Dover Housing Authority office, Buckley declared his intention to resign from the mayor's office to accept the position of executive director of the Dover Housing Authority, replacing former director M. Heine Merrill. The decision came after what DHA chairman Frank Torr described as a deliberate selection process. Buckley was one of 67 applicants for the position, with 5 being Dover residents. Torr noted that while Buckley lacked Merrill's extensive experience in construction and housing management, his 2 terms on the city council and his work as a caseworker for the State Division of Welfare and as the city's youth resources director qualified him for the role. Perhaps more importantly, Torr believed Buckley could bring something Merrill never had: the ability to bridge the communication gap that had soured relationships between the City Council and the DHA in recent years. As a lifetime resident of Dover and active participant in city government, Buckley was uniquely positioned to heal these fractured relationships. The timing of Buckley's transition proved fortuitous. Just days after his appointment was confirmed, Dover found itself in the national spotlight as Governor Hugh Gallen joined city officials for a groundbreaking ceremony at Cocheco Park. This $4.5 million 102-unit residential and commercial complex represented the first major public housing construction project to begin during Gallen's administration, and the largest project to begin construction under the Urban Renewal Program, approved by the City Council in 1971. Buckley's involvement in urban renewal initiatives like Cocheco Park would prove prophetic. The complex, designed with assistance from the Dover Housing Authority, featured innovative elements including a riverside walkway, swimming pool, and underground parking. What began as a temporary career pivot would become Buckley's life's work. Over the next 34 years, from 1979 to 2013, he transformed the Dover Housing Authority from a basic public housing provider into a comprehensive community development organization. Under his leadership, the DHA pioneered innovative programs, including a groundbreaking community policing initiative in partnership with the Dover Police Department that established the only City of Dover police substation at Whittier Falls Housing. One of Buckley's earliest and most significant achievements came in 1981 with the acquisition of the St. John's Methodist Episcopal Church building for $58,000. He oversaw its conversion into housing for the elderly and disabled, transforming the historic 1875 structure that once seated 1,000 parishioners into vital affordable housing. Buckley's contributions extended beyond housing. He helped bring the New Hampshire Children's Museum to Dover from Portsmouth, and oversaw construction of the Seymour Osmond Community Center, which continues to serve as a safe haven for neighborhood children. In November 2021, in recognition of his decades of service, the Dover Housing Authority renamed St. John's Apartments to Jack Buckley Commons. The ceremony honored a man whose 1979 resignation from the mayor's office launched a housing legacy that continues to serve Dover's most vulnerable residents today.
Thanks for listening to the Dover Download this week. If you like what you heard, subscribe through your favorite podcast aggregator. And if you have something you want to hear a topic on, let us know. Finally, this is just one of the many ways we share information about the city of Dover. You can subscribe to the Dover Downloads email newsletter every week or other newsletters that we have by going to the City of Dover homepage, www.dover.nh.gov. Have a great week.